Daniel was just 10 years old, but he already knew what hunger felt like. Not the kind of hunger where your tummy rumbles before lunch. This was the kind where your tummy rumbles, and keeps rumbling all night because there's nothing to stop it. Daniel lived in a tiny, noisy apartment with his mother, just 2 streets away from the city's bus station. The place was so small that when Daniel stretched his arms, he could almost touch both walls. The ceiling leaked when it rained, and the kitchen smelled like onions and struggle. But it was home. His mom, Caroline, was a superhero, just without the cape. She worked 2 jobs. In the morning, she cleaned houses, scrubbing other people's toilets and mopping floors that didn't belong to her. In the evenings, she did people's laundry, folding clothes while yawning and humming sad love songs from the 90s. She didn't complain, at least not in front of Daniel. But he could tell. He saw it in her tired eyes, and in the way her back ached when she tried to stand too fast. She always smiled and said, "We'll be fine." But her shoes had holes, and her phone screen had been cracked since last Christmas. Daniel never met his dad. His mother said he was kind and funny and could make anyone laugh, even the grumpy neighbor who hated everyone. But he died in a car accident when Daniel was just 4. Since then, it had always been just the 2 of them, Daniel and his mom against the world. Some nights when there was nothing to eat, they would pretend they weren't hungry. Daniel would say, "I'm full," and his mom would smile and say, "Me too." Then they would drink warm water from mismatched cups and go to bed in silence. But even in the middle of that hardship, Daniel had dreams. Big ones. He wanted to be a computer engineer. He didn't fully know what that meant yet, but he liked the sound of it. He wanted to build things, solve problems, maybe even design a robot that could cook rice, because he didn't even know what jollof tasted like. At school, he didn't talk much. He mostly kept to himself, drawing pictures of computers and machines in his notebook while his classmates played outside. His teacher said he was smart, and the librarian called him the quiet genius. Every afternoon after school, Daniel walked past a little diner. He loved the smell that came out from the kitchen: fried chicken, warm bread, and sometimes even chocolate cake. His stomach would growl, and he would press his nose gently against the glass window, pretending to look for someone, just to catch the scent. One day that diner was going to change his life, but Daniel didn't know that yet. All he knew was that tomorrow was another school day, and there was no food at home. It was a Wednesday. Daniel knew it was Wednesday because his teacher wore the same green tie every Wednesday. He had also learned that Wednesday was when they served spaghetti and meatballs at the diner. That afternoon, Daniel walked home slower than usual. His school shoes had started making a funny sound when he walked. Clap, 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 like they were clapping for him just for surviving the day. As he passed the little diner, the smell of food hit him like a warm hug. His tummy growled like a tiny lion. He stopped and stared through the glass window again. Inside, people were eating and laughing. There was music playing softly, and a waitress with red lipstick and curly brown hair was wiping down tables. Daniel looked away and was about to keep walking when he heard a soft voice behind him. "Are you waiting for someone?" He turned quickly. It was the same waitress. She looked friendly. Her name tag said Maria. Daniel shook his head shyly. "No, ma'am." "Then come inside," she said with a smile. "You're letting all the good smells escape." Daniel blinked. I don't have money." Maria leaned closer and whispered, "Well, lucky for you, we have a leftover day today." She winked. Daniel looked confused. "Leftover day?" "Yes," she said, grinning. "That's the day I accidentally cook more food than we need and have no choice but to give it to handsome little boys for free." Daniel laughed softly. It was the first time he had laughed in a long time. She led him to a small corner table by the window and disappeared into the kitchen. A few minutes later, she came back with a plate full of spaghetti and meatballs, garlic bread on the side, and a glass of cold lemonade. Daniel's eyes widened. "This is leftover?" Maria whispered. "Shh. Don't tell anyone, or they'll all come asking for leftovers too." Daniel ate like it was the best meal he had ever tasted, and to be honest, it probably was. The sauce was sweet, the meatballs were soft, and the bread was warm and buttery. Even the lemonade tasted like magic. Maria watched from a distance, smiling. She had seen hungry kids before. They usually rushed their food like it was going to run away. But Daniel? He ate slowly, carefully, like he didn't want to waste a single bite. That said a lot about him. When he was done, he walked up to her with both hands behind his back and said, Thank you. You're welcome, sweetheart, she said. You can come by any time. Leftovers seem to happen a lot when you're around. From that day, Daniel started stopping by the diner after school. He never asked for food. He just sat quietly in the same corner. And somehow Maria always, accidentally, had too much food again. And just like that, something small and beautiful began to grow between a quiet boy and a kind waitress. Weeks passed, and Daniel kept coming to the diner after school. Every time Maria would smile and say something like, "Oh no, I made too many chicken sandwiches again." Or, "These pancakes refused to stay in the kitchen, so I had to bring them out." Daniel always chuckled. He knew she was pretending, but he never said a word. He just ate, quietly, politely, and always said thank you. Maria had served hundreds of people in her life, but this boy was different. He never complained, never asked for anything. He just sat in his corner, did his homework, ate what she gave him, and waved goodbye like a little gentleman. One day, after the lunch rush was over, Maria brought Daniel his usual plate of fries and chicken tenders, then did something she'd never done before. She sat down across from him. "So, what's your name, mystery boy?" Daniel wiped his hands with a napkin and said shyly, "Daniel." "Daniel," she repeated. "Nice to finally know the name of the boy who keeps stealing my leftovers." He laughed quietly. "Can I ask you something, Daniel?" she said gently. He nodded. "You always come here alone. What about your parents? Do they know you're here?" Daniel paused. "My mom knows. She works a lot, cleaning people's houses. She's always tired, and my dad died when I was little." Maria's smile faded just a little. "I'm so sorry to hear that." Daniel nodded like he was used to saying it. "It's okay. It's just been me and Mom for a long time. We don't have much, but she tries her best. She says we're rich in love." Maria's eyes softened. "Your mom sounds like a strong woman." "She is," Daniel said proudly. "She wakes up really early and comes home really late. Sometimes she forgets to eat." Maria placed her hand on the table. "What about you, Daniel? What do you want to be when you grow up?" He looked down, then up at her with a spark in his eyes. "I want to be a computer engineer. I want to build cool things, maybe even fix robots. And one day, I want to make enough money so my mom doesn't have to work 2 jobs anymore." Maria smiled, but she had to blink quickly so he wouldn't see the tears building in her eyes. "That's a beautiful dream, and I believe you're going to do it." "You really think so?" "I know so." After that day, Maria started calling him Professor Daniel. "Ah, here comes the future engineer," she'd say when he walked in. And slowly, without either of them planning it, they became something like family. She listened when he talked, he listened when she didn't. Their hearts found comfort in each other, but even Maria didn't know. Something big was coming, and it would change everything. It was a rainy Friday when Daniel didn't show up. Maria looked at the clock. 3:15 p.m., then 3:45, then 4:30. Still no Daniel. She looked out the window, hoping to see his little figure walking down the street, school bag bouncing on his back like always. But the street stayed empty. Maybe he's just running late, she told herself. Or maybe he stayed home because of the rain. But the next day, he didn't come either. Or the day after that. A whole week passed. Maria asked around. She even walked to the school to see if he was okay, but the guard just shrugged. "Daniel, I think he left. Someone came to pick him up last week. Big car, important-looking people." Maria felt something strange in her chest. A mix of worry, confusion, and a little ache. Why would Daniel leave without saying goodbye? Then one quiet morning, a small envelope arrived at the diner. It had no stamp. Just Maria's name, written in a boy's handwriting. Her hands trembled slightly as she penned it. Inside was a note. "Dear Miss Maria, I'm so sorry I didn't come to say goodbye. Everything happened so fast. A man from a scholarship program came to our school. He said he had read my essay and they chose me for a full scholarship in a special science school. They even gave us a house near the school." Mom cried. I cried too. But happy tears. We left the next morning. I wanted to come and tell you, but they said we had to go quickly. Thank you for all the food, and the jokes, and the kindness. You made my hard days feel easier. You made me feel seen. I'll never forget you. I promise. From your future computer engineer, Daniel. Maria read the letter twice, then 3 times, and when she finally folded it and tucked it close to her heart, she smiled. A real, deep smile. Go chase your dream, Professor Daniel, she whispered. I'll be right here cheering for you. And from that day, she kept the letter in her apron pocket, right next to her heart, just in case he ever came back. 20 years had passed since the day Maria got that letter. The diner was still standing, though the paint had faded a little and the menu board squeaked when you wrote on it. But the laughter was still there, the smell of pancakes still danced through the air. And Maria? She was still there too, now with a few more smile lines and a pair of glasses that were always sliding down her nose. Some things hadn't changed, but others had. Maria didn't talk much about Daniel anymore, but she never forgot him. The letter stayed folded neatly in her apron pocket, worn at the edges but still close to her heart. She often wondered what happened to him. Did he really become a computer engineer? Did he still remember her? She hoped so. But life goes on and diners don't run themselves. It was a slow afternoon. Only 2 people were eating, and the jukebox was playing a soft tune from the 90s. Maria was wiping the counter when the bell above the door jingled. She looked up. 4 black SUVs pulled into the parking lot. Well, that's new, she thought. The door opened and in walked a tall young man in a navy blue suit. He looked confident but kind. His eyes scanned the diner as if searching for something familiar. And then he smiled. Maria blinked. No, it couldn't be. He walked closer and said gently, Miss Maria? Her hand flew to her mouth. Daniel? He laughed. You still remember my name? I still have your letter, she whispered, stunned. My goodness, look at you. You grew taller than my fridge. Daniel chuckled and gave her a warm hug. I told you I'd come back. She stepped back, eyes misty. And what's with the 4 giant cars? You running for president? Not yet, he grinned. But I do run my own tech company now. We build software for schools and hospitals. I also help kids like me. Like I was. Kids with dreams but no money. Maria stared at him like she was seeing a miracle. I never forgot the way you fed me, he said. But it wasn't just the food. It was how you made me feel seen. Important. Like I mattered. Maria wiped a tear. You did matter. You still do. Daniel pulled out a small envelope and placed it on the counter. I wanted to do something for you, he said. She opened the envelope slowly. Her hands trembled again, just like the day she first got his letter. Inside was a check. Maria gasped. Daniel, this is too much. It's just the right amount, he smiled. To help you fix up the diner and take a proper vacation for once. I can't accept this, she whispered. You already did, he grinned. 10 years ago, when you gave a hungry boy spaghetti and hope. Maria burst out laughing and crying at the same time. You always knew how to make my heart melt, Professor Daniel. He stayed the whole afternoon. They talked about everything. His mom, who now taught at a local college, his first failed invention, his first big break. And before he left, he added something else. I've also created a scholarship. It's called the Maria Grant, for kids with big dreams and small wallets. Maria covered her mouth again. You named it after me? You helped me when I had nothing, he said. Now, I want the world to remember the waitress who changed a life with kindness and leftovers. As Daniel walked out of the diner, the bell jingled behind him. Maria stood at the door, smiling, eyes watery. Maria stood at the door long after the SUVs had disappeared down the road. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky with soft orange and pink. She leaned against the doorway, her apron still dusted with flour, the check still clutched gently in her hand. The diner felt warmer somehow. Not from the heaters or the oven, but from the feeling in her chest. That sweet mixture of pride, joy, and something she couldn't quite name. Maybe it was gratitude. Maybe it was the quiet peace that comes when you realize a small act of kindness truly made a difference. She walked back inside, looked around her little diner with fresh eyes. It wasn't fancy. The stools still squeaked. The sign out front flickered when it rained. But this place? This place had fed dreams. That night, as she closed up the diner, she took Daniel's letter, the old one, and placed it beside the new envelope. Then she added a little handwritten sign on the wall. Kindness costs nothing but changes everything. She smiled at it. Tomorrow she would tell the story to the early morning customers, and the next day, and the next, not to brag, but to remind them that sometimes you're not just feeding a child, you're feeding a future, and sometimes a quiet boy with tired shoes and big eyes might just come back, in a suit, with 4 SUVs and a heart full of gratitude. Now the world would know what Maria had always known. A little kindness goes a very, very long way. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs a little hope today. And before you go, leave a comment telling me, have you ever experienced a small act of kindness that changed your life? I'd love to read your stories. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, because there are so many more beautiful stories coming your way. Remember, even the smallest kindness can change a life forever. Stay kind, stay hopeful, and I'll see you in the next video.